This week on Jerusalem Dateline, despite a ceasefire, fighting rages between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Armenia's president tells CBN News Turkey is behind the trouble.
Turkey brought Islamic militants and terrorists into the region, has completely changed the whole picture of the conflict.
Plus, why some believe Saudi Arabia could be the next Middle East country to make peace with Israel.
I think that is absolutely going to happen. I think it's a matter of time.
And after the Abraham Accords, Jerusalem's deputy mayor leads an historic women's meeting in Dubai. All this and more this week on Jerusalem Dateline. Hello and welcome to this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. I'm Chris Mitchell. 3 weeks of fighting between Armenia and Azerbaijan over the disputed region of Nagorno-Karabakh shows no signs of stopping. Both sides traded blame for the current outbreak of hostilities. Despite a ceasefire, hundreds have been killed and many more displaced, causing international aid groups to warn of a humanitarian crisis. CBN News senior international correspondent George Thomas spoke with the president of Armenia, Armen Sarkisian, from Armenia's capital of Yerevan about the conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh.
Mr. President, thank you so much for coming on the show. There are multiple reports that Turkey is sending hundreds of Syrian Islamic jihadists to fight alongside Azeri soldiers. Mr. President, can you confirm these reports and what are the implications of their involvement?
Well, first of all, I can confirm it's not only confirmation from my side. International organizations and even intelligence departments of different states have confirmed that. And we have also evidences on the ground. Of course, involvement of Turkey, and additional to that, Turkey brought Islamic militants and terrorists into the region, has completely changed the whole picture of the conflict. If you go to Nagorno-Karabakh Republic of Artsakh, you will see remnants of towers, buildings, churches coming, let's say, from the 3rd, 4th century when Armenia became as a state, a Christian state, the first in the world in the year 301. So Armenians are living there for thousands of years. And with the breakdown of Soviet Union, people of Nagorno-Karabakh decided that they would like to live independently and exercise their life, their religion, their heritage, and basically live as a free people. Now, on the 27th of September, Azerbaijan, definitely fully supported by Turkey, started another war. It's more than 2 weeks we're watching hundreds and hundreds of people that are killed. They're killed on both sides. Civilians are bombarded.
Why is Turkey getting involved in this part of South Caucasus?
Well, let me just give you a question instead of answer. Why on earth Turkey was involved in Egypt? Why on earth Turkey is involved now in Libya? Why on earth Turkey is involved in Iraq? Turkey was claiming that they are supporting their ethnic brothers Azeris. But their ethnic brothers go up to Central Asia, go to Mongolia, they go to north of China. So that means they are going to interfere anywhere there. Why on earth they got involved in Syria, a place with an ancient culture, and one of the first that have suffered there were Armenian communities. One of the first that have suffered there was Christian communities, because Turkey has also invaded the north of Syria. They speak about territorial integrity of Azerbaijan, but in the same time, they break the territorial integrity of many countries. Why on earth they are creating tensions in Mediterranean with Greece now, with Cyprus and so on and so forth? Turkey desires to establish itself as a regional power, and Turkey bullies everybody around. Coming into Caucasus, they want to say that they are there. They want to say they are a power there. They want to teach Armenians the lessons of Nagorno-Karabakh, telling Azeris, you cannot solve it out, we will help you to solve it out. They want to stay in Azerbaijan, and basically, by staying there, take control over international oil and gas pipelines. So then Europe will become a hostage of Turkey, and Central Asia, or Caspian region will become a hostage of that. But the most important, wherever they go, alone or bringing Islamic militants with them, basically they are there and they are destroying not only people's lives, but also ancient languages. As I said, like in Syria, destroying ancient Christian culture that was everywhere, including in the north of Syria.
What are the consequences, Mr. President, of not stopping Turkey's involvement in this conflict?
Well, not stopping Turkey in this conflict, you will get another Syria, but 10 times bigger, because you will get completely unstable Caucasus. You will get international pipelines controlled, or maybe even brutally controlled by Turkey. So if Turkey is not excluded from the picture, it will be very, very difficult to come to a peaceful settlement, i.e. through negotiations, and bring people back to the negotiation table of the Minsk group of OSCE. That means Turkey. Turkey is the biggest obstacle now for peace process.
And to that point, Mr. President, do you see this has historically been viewed as an ethnic conflict? With the emergence of Turkey in this conflict, do you see this as now potentially becoming a religious war between Armenia, which is an ancient Christian nation, and Azerbaijan and Turkey, predominantly Muslim?
I would not call it that it will become a religious war, although Turkey is trying to bring these Islamic militants. They are all paid, they are mercenaries. But it is somehow a conflict of different civilizations, different approaches, different cultures. And it's also a conflict that basically, to be mild, or diplomatically, while Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh, clearly they are fighting for their faith, for their culture, for their houses, for their proud history, for their children and grandchildren, for everything. But at the same time, while fighting now Azerbaijan and Turkey and the mercenaries, they're also fighting somehow for the security of Europe, for the security of the whole region, for the security of even Middle East, for the security of Central Asia, and even Russia and Iran. So these brave people are like the story of the David and the Goliath. They are facing an enormous enemy that wants to destroy a whole civilization, a culture, religion, and people.
So the Prime Minister of Armenia went on national television and referred to this conflict as a Turkish-Azerbaijani terrorist alliance. Mr. President, do you see it that way as well?
Well, what I see here is definitely, while we are fighting, people are fighting in Nagorno-Karabakh for their honor, for their history, for their culture. There is a new fight which is emerging there because of the mercenaries. And mercenaries are terrorists. They are Islamic terrorists. So from that point of view, I would say that we would like to appeal to international community, to everybody, to put pressure on Turkey that they will get out from Azerbaijan together with their mercenaries and terrorists. So Armenia and Azerbaijan, or Nagorno-Karabakh and Azerbaijan, can start a ceasefire and go ahead and negotiate a peaceful solution. Armenia was always for a peaceful solution. This war is not something that we wanted, never. This war is not something that people of Nagorno-Karabakh wanted. They are brave, they are fast, they are smart people. They want to develop their country, they want to be a part of international community. But this is a fight for their culture, for their communities, for their civilization, which is different what Turkey is bringing to the area.
Mr. President, what future do the Armenians in the territory face if it is overrun by Azerbaijan, Turkey, and these Islamists?
Well, if you ask Armenians in Nagorno-Karabakh or in Artsakh Republic, well, nobody there will even think about other alternative than victory. And victory for them is just defending your home. Until the last person, until the last one. And I can assure you, there's a huge number of volunteers from Armenia proper going to Nagorno-Karabakh. There are volunteers from worldwide, Armenians from different countries coming to join and to fight it, because again and again, it reminds now, with the involvement of Turkey, the genocide of Armenians that happened 100 years ago. And there's no one Armenian living in any country in the world, starting from Americas, coming to Europe, to Russia, anywhere in the world, that would like to see another genocide happening.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you very much indeed.
Coming up, why some believe Saudi Arabia could be the next country to make peace with Israel.
I think that we are actually trending towards a dramatic development of normalization, full peace treaty between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the State of Israel.
Another Arab country could soon normalize relations with Israel. This after the historic treaty between the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain, and the Jewish state. Many see Saudi Arabia as next in line. The positive signal is this landmark interview carried on the Arab news channel Al Arabiya. Saudi Arabia's former ambassador to the U.S., Prince Bandar bin Sultan, condemning Palestinian reaction to the treaty known as the Abraham Accords.
I have heard shocking statements quoted from the Palestinian leadership. At first, I refused to believe what I heard. Then, a day or two later, I saw it with my own eyes on TV.
Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas accused the Gulf states of betraying his people, and chief negotiator Saeb Erekat called the treaty a poison stab in the back.
Their transgression against the Gulf states' leadership with this reprehensible discourse is unacceptable.
Prince Bandar then listed the Palestinian betrayals of Saudi Arabia and Gulf states, specifically Yasser Arafat's support of Iraq's Saddam Hussein after he attacked Kuwait in the 1991 Gulf War.
The interview by Prince Bandar with Al Arabiya was a breakthrough. It was a ground-shaking interview, because what you have is a former, very senior Saudi official, not current, but very well respected, and he blasted in no uncertain terms the current leadership of the Palestinian Authority, and particularly Mahmoud Abbas.
UAE political analyst Dr. Najat Al-Said says it also shows Saudi Arabia's frustration with Palestinian leaders.
What I'm sure about, what has been applied for the past years will never be applied now, because basically it failed, and they show, and the reward of the Palestinian Authority was an attack and was siding with their enemies. Before was like people like Saddam Hussein, and now with Turkey and Iran, who are like a main threat to the Gulf region. They are siding with them against the Gulf.
Middle East expert Joel Rosenberg has led several evangelical delegations to the Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia.
I think that we are actually trending towards a dramatic development, a normalization, full peace treaty between the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the State of Israel. I know that for many that seems premature and it seems even far-fetched. I think that is absolutely going to happen. I think it's a matter of time.
Al-Said says as leader of the Muslim world and home to Mecca, Saudi Arabia has unique circumstances.
It's not only a matter of a country and its people like UAE and Bahrain. It's more than that because of its weight in the region, whether from the Arab perspective and the Muslim perspective.
Saudi Arabia provided a key sign when it gave the green light for Israeli aircraft to fly through its airspace. Rosenberg sees the Abraham Accords as a turning point for a country where 70% of the population is under 35, with many looking for change.
I think the main issue here is not whether the royals in Riyadh want to make peace with Israel. The question is, how long will it take to continue to sort of warm up the culture to think it through. It's such a huge breakthrough. And I think it's creating a conversation that's going on inside the kingdom that is going to help lay the groundwork for what will be the biggest development. I mean, there's no peace treaty that's bigger than a Saudi-Israeli peace deal, but I think it's coming.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem. Up next, see why Jerusalem's deputy mayor joined Emirati women in Dubai for an historic gathering.
I think that women are natural peace builders. I think women are consensus builders.
Jerusalem Deputy Mayor Fleur Hassan Nahum returned recently from a trip that would have been unthinkable even a year ago. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stahl spoke with Hassan Nahum while she was in Dubai for the first meeting of the Gulf Israel Women's Forum, made possible by the recent signing of the Abraham Accords between Israel and the UAE.
Jerusalem Deputy Mayor Fleur Hassan Nahum, welcome to Jerusalem Dateline.
Lovely being here. Thank you, Julie.
You started the UAE Israel Business Council as well as the Gulf Israel Women's Forum, and you're far away, you're in Dubai. Tell me, how is it?
It's amazing here. I've got to tell you, the reception that I've received is so warm. People are so hospitable. People are excited by the warm peace ahead of us, curious to get to know Israeli culture, happy to be able to think about coming and praying in Jerusalem. So all good, really all good, very exciting.
What kind of benefits do you think will come from the relations between Israel and the UAE?
We have complementary strengths, and we are the two most advanced economies in the Middle East. So this match makes a lot of sense. I believe that the UAE can teach us so many things about infrastructural development, can be a hub and a gateway to the East for Israeli products and markets. And I think that we can provide a lot in the innovation culture, in problem-solving technologies, and in thinking about the future together as a region.
And what surprised you the most about being in Dubai and having these meetings?
The positivity of everybody here and the excitement. You know, you never know. We haven't had a lot of good examples of warm peace with the Arab world, unfortunately, but never kind of a people-to-people, creating and nurturing friendships.
Why did you start the women's group? How does that add to things?
I think that women are natural peace builders. I think women are consensus builders. We're more empathetic. You know, we're mothers, we're sisters. And I think that women have a bond. Women know how to network very well. And I thought it was important, myself and my co-founder, Justine Zwerling, who's already set up a women's business network, we thought it was an important thing to do. And we called it the Gulf Israel Business Network because, of course, we want to include Bahrain and we want to be positive about who else is going to be joining.
Can you be specific about maybe what kinds of opportunities this is creating already? What kind of businesses, what kind of involvements?
Sure. So first of all, the most basic thing is tourism. People want to come and pray in Jerusalem. It's the third holiest Muslim site, as you know. So there's a lot of excitement. Israelis are dying to come to Dubai. Secondly, of course, technologies that could work here, technologies that would solve agricultural, water issues here, and Israelis who want to set up shop here in order to be in the logistical hub and gateway to the Eastern markets.
You're the deputy mayor of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem has a large Arab population. Do you foresee these ties helping the eastern part of the city?
Absolutely. That's part of the reason why I'm here. The Arabs of East Jerusalem are a very natural bridge to the Gulf. We have a young, vibrant, Arab-speaking population, 37% of our constituents, slowly joining the startup nation, the prosperity of the startup nation. And I envision that East Jerusalem could be the R&D hub of the Middle East with the language and with the culture. Of course, they've been raised in the kind of atmosphere of the startup nation. And so they combine the culture and they combine the Israeli spirit of innovation. And I think it could be a fantastic match. And it's good for the city, it's good for the Arab population, it's good for all of us.
You're clearly very excited about this, and it is very exciting. But is there anything that troubles you or worries you or any hiccups you can see along the way?
Well, I think we have to cross a little bit of a cultural divide. I think Israelis are much more transactional in nature, and Emiratis are more about building relationships and trust, the old-fashioned way. I really connect, actually, to the way of being here because I'm a Sephardi Jew. You know, my mother's from Morocco, so I understand the culture, the mentality. It's my culture in a lot of ways. And so I think that's the divide that we have to bridge. But I think we're starting to do that. We're doing online events. There's slowly a trickle of Israelis getting here. And hopefully we'll be seeing Emiratis in Israel very soon. It's something we have to build. It's not going to happen overnight. But I think the desire from both sides means that we've started within the right foot.
What do you think that this peace deal is going to mean for Israel and the Middle East?
I think that, 100 years of conflict has gotten us nowhere. It's just caused bloodshed and young people and dying for no reason, because there's a place for everybody here in this region. And in fact, if we learn how to work together and live together, it could be a superpower. And I think that slowly, people are beginning to realize this.
Anything else you'd like to add?
I just want to say that, building peace does not happen overnight. Building a warm peace is about people to people. It's about business to business. That's how you build trust. That's how you understand cultural differences and bridge those differences. And we're just at the beginning of hopefully a very long and beautiful relationship. I think we're living history, and we should all be very lucky that we're living in these times.
Flora Hassan Nahum, thank you so much for joining us on Jerusalem Dateline.
Still ahead, Israel's government press office prepares for its annual Christian Media Summit. For the fourth year, Israel's government press office will be presenting its annual Christian Media Summit on Sunday, October 18th. As in most cases in 2020, this year's summit will be virtual online. Video addresses will be presented by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, as well as U.S. Ambassador to Israel, David Friedman. I'll be hosting a panel including Joel Rosenberg about the recent peace plans and the impact of COVID-19 here in Israel. If you'd like to see it, CBN News, Jerusalem Dateline, and CBN Israel will be live streaming on our Facebook and YouTube pages. Well, that's all for this edition of Jerusalem Dateline. Thanks for joining us. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm Chris Mitchell. We'll see you next time.